welcome to an updated version of the Ultimate Graphic Novel Collection, or at least my Ultimate Graphic Novel Collection. I'm sure you guys have got plenty of other graphic novel collections which are just as good, if not better, but these are the books that I've been recommended or recommend to people, and vice versa. I only really keep books that I really enjoy, so if I didn't enjoy them, I don't keep them. And we're going to start off with the Hellboy Mike Mignola Library Edition books, quite common in people's collections, volumes 1 to 6, really good, obviously quite famous. Fear Agent, really this was off the back of other people's recommendation about Rick Remender. I've not actually read them, so I can't let you know if they're any good yet, but I'm sure it will come up in a following review. I review most of the stuff that I read online, and you can always follow me and see what I'm reading. Then we've got the Big Sin City Omnibus, and one of my pride and joys, if you like, of the collection, which is a IDW Red Label Lock and Key book, which is absolutely fantastic. And there are a couple of secrets to that book. You can actually get me to review it another time if you'd like. Next to it is some original art and my own comic book. That is a comic book that I created called Squatters. I'm currently in the production of issue 2, and if you'd like to read issue 1, I'll turn the light down so you can see it. There you go. Then feel free, if you'd like to see issue 2, then feel free to buy issue 1 and follow us on Kickstarter and you'll see issue 2. There we have, well, that's a little bit of my comic book history really. I've got 2 copper plated books, Silver Surfer books. The first and second one were bought actually for me by my parents to signify the first ever comic that my dad bought for me when I was 8 years old, which was a Silver Surfer comic, and they kind of bought me a copper plated version to celebrate one of my birthdays, which was lovely. Next to it is a very high quality Silver Surfer hidden away there, issue 4 I think, Silver Surfer against Thor, and a little Silver Surfer model. In the background there you can see a couple of original arts signed by Garth Ennis, John McCrae, Keith Burns, and they were from The Boys, one of my favourite series that really is very underrated. I really enjoyed it, especially the first 5 volumes. I thought they were excellent. And now we head on to my Marvel collection. It starts with the Cosmic shelf. This is all cosmic stuff, which you can see here. It starts with the Realm of Kings, War of Kings, Thanos Imperative. Also, you'll notice that my books go from right to left, and not left to right, which is the common. People think I'm totally mad, but I'm not. And the reason is that when you pull the hard covers out and you speak to people, the first book is going to be the one on the top in the correct direction. If I show you that, here we go, I'm going to pull out, and there you'll see that when I pull it out, the first book will be Annihilation book 1, and you'll see them in order. If I order them in the other direction, then you actually can't pull them out. They're in reverse order and you can't show people, you just turn them over. But it's just a little thing. I think it's a little pro tip in my opinion, but a lot of people don't agree, so it's up to you. Guardians of the Galaxy, some of these books are really hard to get hold of, specifically this Guardians 3 book here. This Guardians 3 book is actually quite tough to get hold of. I was buying them when they originally came out with Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning doing the work, and they were just a fantastic run. Thankfully I got to meet Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning and interview them at some point in my history, and they are just brilliant, both of them. Fantastic guys, know exactly what they're doing, and you can tell by the quality. Going into my my first massive omnibus, we're going to see a few of those, but probably my favourite as well, actually, my favourite crossover saga, Infinity Gauntlet. I love Cosmic Saga. This, I've actually got 2, a double dip here. This one I've got is actually signed by Jim Starlin and George Perez, I believe. George Perez? Yeah, I think it's signed by George Perez. I'd like to get Ron Lim to sign it, but he's never been in the UK. You can also see the signature on the front of the book as well, which is great. Moving on into another double dip. I don't often double dip, but in this case I have double dipped because they're quite hard to get hold of. The Annihilation hardcover and Annihilation Conquest hardcover books. Most of my books are in hardcover. There's only the books that aren't in hardcover are the ones that you can't either get hold of in hardcover or they're just hard to get hold of in hardcover. I'd rather have them in hardcover. They sit nicer on the shelf and they last longer. But I double dipped on the Annihilation Omnibus probably because I love so much this saga. The Annihilation saga started really a rebirth of the cosmic scene for Marvel, and if it wasn't for the Annihilation saga you wouldn't have modern day Guardians of the Galaxy. You just wouldn't. Then into my favourite character of all time, Silver Surfer. The reason I don't have a much bigger Silver Surfer collection is because, simple reason is I own all the 3rd volume issues in singles. I'm not really enjoying the new run by Dan Slott. We can talk about that later. But I've got the single issues for the whole 3rd volume, so there's not much there. Only in the important omnibus of the 1st volume, which is there. And yeah, I love that. It's very difficult to get hold of that omnibus as well. They're moving into Thor, the Straczynski run, and the Mighty Thor, which I both absolutely love. You know, Thor is a great character, probably up there with my favourites, but not anywhere near Silver Surfer. I love Silver Surfer. Moving across, we move into my Hulk. Again, not massive amounts of Hulk there, just Planet Hulk, World War Hulk, and the new Indestructible Hulk and the original Hulk saga. Captain America, again, not a massive Captain America fan, really don't enjoy Captain America that much, especially don't like the Death and Return of Captain America. I thought it was horrendous. Not a fan, so not going to be getting the omnibuses for them. But I do, you know, I do like early Captain America, I do like the Stan Lee stuff. Fantastic Four, again, not much Fantastic Four, just really 3 books there. But I plan to get more of them, just a matter of time, that's all. Moving across, we go into my Avengers shelf. This shelf actually is difficult to get hold of because those 5 books, Avengers Assemble and the Avengers Forever books, were actually quite difficult, especially number 2, volume 2 hardcover. They're quite hard, and the New Avengers Omnibus. I've read pretty much everything up to date on the Avengers. I borrow some of them from a friend of mine who collects the Avengers saga in hardcovers. I'm waiting for the 2nd volume of Omnibus, and I will be buying them in omnibuses. Moving into one of the most difficult to get hold of graphic novel sets, I think. Garth Ennis's The Punisher is an extremely hard omnibus to get hold of, and volume 4 of Punisher Max hardcover, that's taken me about 2 years to get hold of. Very hard to get hold of and probably quite pricey. I got very lucky in both circumstances. I waited a long time till the price was right and the book was right to get it in good condition as well. Yeah, and then the Remender run, which I recommend getting hold of because it's also out of print and starting to creep up in price. Moving along, we've got the 2 Dark Tower sets of omnibuses, looking fantastic there. They're a real treat. If you get an opportunity to see the companion on the original Dark Tower omnibus, the artwork, the explanations, just absolutely fantastic, something really special. That Iron Fist omnibus, probably the best Iron Fist story I've ever read, and it's by Matt Fraction. I don't really like Matt Fraction that much, but he knows how to write the street hero. I mean, he can't write Thor, but he can write the street hero, and Iron Fist is one example of that. Another example is Hawkeye, but we'll come back to that later. Then we've got the Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, Yellow, Blue and Grey. I'm, again, not a massive fan of Jeff Loeb either, but I think he did a fantastic job here, and he does a great job on Batman. So Jeff Loeb, everyone's got their skills, and I think Jeff Loeb on Batman and here in this Yellow, Blue and Grey, he really knew what he was doing. Shield, Hickman's Shield, great book. Shame they don't make a 2nd volume. It's unfinished and I don't see a 2nd volume ever coming out. Secret Warriors, Hickman, again, not bad. It was okay. It was okay. Not my favourite saga of all time, but very respectable. Then we've got the Marvel's Omnibus and the Omnibus versus Army of Darkness. I had to get the 2nd hardcover separate because for sort of licensing reasons they couldn't put the Marvel's Omnibus together with Army of Darkness, so I had to get that separate. Acts of Vengeance and the Acts of Vengeance crossover. I've actually not read the crossover, so the crossover book, so I'm still waiting to read that. Should be fun. Evolutionary War, not read that, so I can't tell you if that's any good. Not heard great things, so on and off. Secret Wars, that's probably one of my favourite graphic novels of all time. Also the first omnibus I ever got and kept me really going for an immense amount of time. It's just absolutely fantastic. Great story, and I hear that they're going to make a Secret Wars 3. Looking forward to that. Avengers Disassembled and House of M. You'll start to notice a theme here on this. This shelf is all the big crossovers that happened in Marvel, so this is the, well, I suppose the order. Yeah, I mean there's a little bit missing here and there, but it's pretty much the order. You've got Avengers Disassembled, House of M, then the entire Civil War in hardcover with that Spider-Man book that has taken me a long time to get hold of, another book hard to get hold of. Heading over into Secret Invasion, Siege, Dark Avengers with the Siege part attached, Fear itself, which doesn't have an oversized hardcover and is a terrible book. Avengers versus X-Men, fantastic. The Companion, which has, and interestingly, an enormous amount of the new Brian Michael Bendis run of the Avengers in there, plus all of the street, all those famous street heroes have got some comics in there as well, so might end up accidentally double dipping when I finish the Avengers. Age of Ultron and the Infinity Companion, that Thanos part, bringing what we understand as modern Thanos into the real Marvel universe. Heading back down, we now have my Daredevil books. I'm in an awkward position here. We now have my Daredevil books. This Daredevil omnibus on the right, very hard to get hold of. It's the Companion. It actually contains more of the stuff I like by Frank Miller than the Daredevil Red book. It contains Born Again, the black one, and it also contains Man Without Fear, both incredible stories. Daredevil's hardcovers 1 to 6. I kind of prefer them to the omnibuses. I'm not sure if I would care too much if I had the omnibuses instead. I've been contemplating switching out, but to be honest, I'm quite happy. I think I'm going to stick with them. These two hard to get Brubaker Daredevil run books, not read them yet, so still got stuff to read there. And then Shadowland, which I've read, another one of them, probably could be in the crossover section, but I haven't put it there. And then some more Daredevil and the modern run of Daredevil by Mark Waid, which is great. Heading over to the Wolverine section, this very hard to get Wolverine Volume 1 Omnibus and the Chris Claremont book here, which I will put up here for a sec. You can see that the book is signed there by Chris Claremont, so I've kept that. I don't really keep trades, but if you're wondering, I don't really get hardcovers signed. I only get the trade signed. I don't actually think that getting it signed increases the value of the book, so it's not that the value is the most important thing, but I'd rather not have them signed. I just think it affects the resale value if ever you want to sell them, which is silly. Wolverine, the Mark Miller and Wolverine Origin. There's a second Origin book come out. Wow, it's come out to bad reviews. I don't know if I'm getting it, still contemplating that. The Jason Aaron run, Ecstatic and Uncanny X-Force by Rick Remender. Again, big names, big runs, and really things that have set their careers alight, to be honest. Uncanny X-Men, that was Chris Claremont's run again. Days of Future Past, The Extinction Agenda. I'm actually missing a few books here on my X-Men run. I need about 7 or 8 books. It's quite a lot, so in good time I suppose, but yeah, just missing a few books. Chris Claremont on the X-Men, X-Men's Bishop Crossing, and this Age of Apocalypse omnibus, which is hard to get hold of. I think now, it wasn't when I bought it, I think it's because they know that the Age of Apocalypse saga is going to be the next Fox movie, so everyone's jumping on board this omnibus, and it just disappeared. And the Companion that comes with it, absolutely stunning. These trades here in between are the Onslaught saga. I'm waiting for the omnibus to come out. I'm going to exchange that ASAP. Then moving on to the new X-Men by Grant Morrison, and one of my favourite X-Men runs, the Joss Whedon run, which was fantastic. Heading on to Endangered Species, a couple of trades which I need to switch again for hardcovers. Hard to get hold of, but not that bothered. X-Men Second Coming Revelations, X-Men Age of X, Mike Carey's work, which is good, and then X-Men Schism into Wolverine and the X-Men, and then the new Marvel Now. A couple of side stories there, Battle of the Atom, and Mike Carey's No More Humans. Heading over again, these are my books that are kind of out of either continuity or they don't fit in the collection anywhere. They've got their own little shelf. Deadpool obviously does. My tiny Iron Man, poor Iron Man. I've read a lot of Iron Man in single issues. I just haven't got round to buying the stuff, probably because I'm not going to read it again. A lot of it wasn't good enough, or the original stuff's great, which I would read again, but I just haven't got round to, you know, it's on my list. It's on my list to do. Then we've got the Ultimates. The Ultimates, Mark Millar's Ultimates, that needs to be swapped. They're in trade paperback. This hardcover here is actually quite hard to get hold of. It's really, really nice, and that's the Ultimate Galactus part, which is good. Then moving into the Elektra Assassins, beautiful Miller book, and then Marvels, which I plan on switching soon. That's just a trade, and then the other part to Marvels, which was called Eye of the Camera, really nice. Then heading over into my Spider-Man collection. Now, Spider-Man collection is probably my biggest collection, and the reason is because I really like Spider-Man. I'm a physics geek, and so was Spider-Man, and I kind of associated myself mostly to the Straczynski run, which is why I like Peter Parker's Straczynski run the most, I think. But you can see here there's out of continuity books. The Frank Miller one is a nice hardcover to have. And then we move into the original Spider-Man, then into Roger Stern, and then Todd McFarlane. And this little book here is Kraven's Last Hunt. It's a first edition, love it. Would love to have a hardcover of it as well, but I don't. A lot of these books are in trade, and the reason is because they have not come out as hardcovers, and they're almost hard to get hold of some of them now in trades, which is quite weird. You've got the complete Clone Saga, you've got the complete Ben Reilly Saga, Spider Hunt, Identity Crisis, and then the next chapter, and then it goes into the Straczynski run, heads off into Brand New Day. Then this is just a mess, really. Everything from Brand New Day all the way up to Return of the Black Cat is just a mess. There's a few good stories in there somewhere, but most of it is not good. And then it heads into the Gauntlet, and I think pretty much from the Gauntlet onwards, where Dan Slott took over, he actually picked up Spider-Man hugely. People don't give him the respect that he deserves for what he's achieved on Spider-Man. Spider-Man was a mess after Straczynski left. I don't care what anyone tells me, it was. The sales dropped massively, and the facts are in the numbers. And Dan Slott's been able to pick it up and pull it back, and yeah, well done, Dan Slott. If you have a look here, it goes into Spider-Man Spider Island, then straight into the Ends of the Earth and Danger Zone, and then once we hit Danger Zone, you've got Superior Spider-Man Volume 1 hardcover. There's the entire Ultimates collection going into Cataclysm, not missing anything there, and we've got my Invincible. This is kind of out here with the Image stuff. Invincible's hardcovers all the way to 9. Morning Glories, the 3rd volume of Morning Glories is coming out soon, and a little bit more of my Image stuff here. Walking Dead, Chew hardcovers, Elephant Man, and then some little bits. I've read some of it, haven't read some of it. Think Tank I quite liked. Halcyon is excellent, that was really underrated. Manhattan Project, not a big fan of. And you've got Brian Michael Bendis' first ever graphic novel there, Goldfish, which is quite cool as well. I've got a little shelf here. These are again anomalous books. Some of them need to be in different sections. Most of them are getting replaced. Obviously the 3 books on the right there are not. Super Gods, Brian Hitch's Ultimate Comic Studio, and there's just an annual there that a friend bought for me. It was really nice of him. But most of these books are getting replaced for either omnibuses or oversized hardcovers, so it's on my replacement list. Next is my very small but loved manga collection, which is Vinland Saga, which is probably one of the best graphic novels I've ever read. Attack on Titan, one of the best series I've ever read. Battle Angel Alita, which was quite good. It was alright. I quite enjoyed it, but I want to know where it's going to go, so I'm interested. And then Dragon Ball in colour, which is just fantastic. Akira, again, brilliant series. And Bleach, I watched the manga, wanted to know where it went. Watched the anime, sorry, and I wanted to know where it went, and I don't know where it goes now, so. Okay, and now we're on my DC shelf. Now, my DC shelf does have a Thor picture and a Marvel Encyclopedia up there. Yes, I do know that that's not DC, but I haven't got room on my other shelves, so tough luck, it's got to go up there. DC Comics, the 75 years, huge book, absolutely massive book. Heading into my Green Lantern, the Green Lantern section runs a lot of the books, all the way from the original. I'm missing two or three hard covers there. We'll switch those out, but in good time again. Blackest Night, Brightest Day, it's the whole Jeff Johns run, basically. I'm only interested in the Jeff Johns run. I wasn't a massive fan of Green Lantern beforehand. Jeff Johns did a great job, brought me in. End of. Then we go into some more omnibuses. There's quite a few of them. You've got the New 52 Villains book, DC 1 Million Grant Morrison, Teen Titans, Jeff Johns, Infinite Crisis omnibus, hard to get a hold of that book, and the 52 omnibus. Coming down into my Batman shelves, we've got a couple of rare books again. They're the Stack Deck and Frank Miller Batman Year 1 book. Those are beautiful. They have like a silver and gold, like they've got like a silver and gold colour to the pages. I'll try and show you. Don't know if you can see that, but absolutely stunning. Goes into my favourite Alan Moore book of all time, The Killing Joke. Then Batman Nightfall, Batman Hush, some Death in the City and Batman Detective Paul Dini books, Joker by Brian Azzarello, Batman Defilo, all the Arkham Asylum stuff. It's all the stuff that everyone has, really. Arkham Asylum, Batman and Robin, Batman the Black Glove, Batman Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul, All-Star Batman, Batman Incorporated, Batman F1, Batman the Black Mirror. Again, Batman the Black Mirror signed by Scott Snyder. I've met him over the past. So yeah, I mean, again, love that. Batman the Court of Owls, Batman the City of Owls, Night of Owls, Death of the Family, The Joker, Death of the Family, Batman 0 Year, Batman Superman Crossworld, Batman RIP, Final Crisis, and then into the Death and Return of Superman Omnibus. Fantastic. I'm just going to push these back in. You've got Superman Red Sun, Superman for Tomorrow, Superman Brainiac. These are hardcovers again. Legion of Superheroes, Brian Azzarello's Luthor, Superman Secret Origin, Superman Grounded, Superman Earth 1, and Superman Hell on Earth. And there you have a nice Kingdom Come Mark Waid special edition signed by Mark Waid and Alex Ross book. Beautiful. Heading over into our Hawkman Omnibus by Jeff Johns, Swamp Thing, the hardcovers by Alan Moore, and then into the Swamp Thing that was done by Scott Snyder, Animal Man Omnibus done by Grant Morrison, the Animal Man stuff by Jeff Lemire, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam, Batwoman, a whole load of stuff that I wasn't interested in, like Justice League Dark, Red Lantern, Suicide Squad and Nightwing. Those were pretty poor. Lobo, the entire Flash run to Flashpoint, and then the Modern Flash, Earth 2 volumes 1 to 3, Identity Crisis, Justice League of America, The Tornado's Path, Trinity War, Forever Evil, and some Legion Lost because it was done by Dan Abnett, who I love. I think he's brilliant. And Andy Lanning, again, who I think are brilliant. Then we've got the Vertigo stuff. My Vertigo collection includes Why the Last Man, 100 Bullets, DMZ, Preacher, Books of Magic by Neil Gaiman, Sleeper Omnibus, the 2 Sandman books, Planetary Omnibus, Scott Snyder's American Vampire, and then into Transmet. Those I think are coming out in hardcovers soon, so I'm looking forward to that. Punk Rock Jesus, kind of a whole load of one books that I haven't read the whole saga for yet, or I even haven't got round to reading the first one yet, so, you know, like Ex Machina and Northlanders, which I will read soon enough. Sweet Tooth, which I've read, is amazing. Fables, I've only got a few books, I haven't got round to getting into that yet. Hellblazer, I've read all those 3, I'm ordering the next few. Lucifer, fantastic, Kick-Ass, and the Lock and Key books. And finally, the last shelf, we've got Incorruptible and Irredeemable, The Boys, one of my favourite sagas of all time. Freddy vs. Jason, yeah, that's quite funny. A first edition Sin City trade paperback by Dark Horse. And then I think, you know, Underwater Worlders, worth a mention. Logic Comics, interesting. Mouse, incredible. And my favourite two indie books that I've ever read, actually, still my favourite. These books are called Madam Samurai, done by a guy called Gary Young and David Hitchcock. Those two books were unbelievable, unbelievable. The artwork is stunning, the storyline's good. Such a shame that that it just didn't take off. I don't know if it didn't take off or it didn't get the advertising that it deserved, but well done, both you guys. You know, you should be proud of that piece of work. Yeah, and that's my graphic novel collection. I'm just gonna mention about two other things worth talking about for those people that are interested in collecting, and yeah. So you want to collect graphic novels and you don't actually know what to do. Well, these are the two books that you need to get. These two books have the continuity much better in the Marvel one, but the continuity for the graphic novels in Marvel and DC. And in each of these books it tells you from start to finish what's available and what you can get hold of to make your collection as best as you possibly can, if that's what you want to do. The only problem I would say is that this Marvel one is a little bit outdated now. I think it came out in 2011, and the DC Entertainment Essential Graphic Novels is not really in a proper chronological order of everything they've got, so not a massive fan of their version, but it does still get you where you need to be. So check those two books out. I think you can buy them for next to nothing on eBay. That's where you need to start if you want to have a great graphic novel collection. Take care.